and welcome to the October module from the Anger Cure, which we have called Your Story. In many ways, we are still exploring the idea of LiveScript, but we will be coming at it from some different directions. Emily is going to start by looking at some very deep questions about the nature of reality. We tend to perceive reality as something solid and fixed. However, I'm pretty sure that if you and I walked into the same bar, we would each perceive our surroundings very differently. Our perception will be affected by a number of psychological factors, most of which can be related to our life script. I'm going to say little this week and next, and leave you to do most of the work. This week's task is to write the story of your life as if it were a fairy tale or folk tale. This can work well for two reasons. Firstly, writing in the third person helps you get distance from the events of your own life, making it easier for you to engage with potentially troubling material. Secondly, by using the language of fairy tales, you awaken the creative parts of the child ego state, which may open you up to deeper insights. You may want to reacquaint yourself with some traditional fairy tales, such as the Brothers Grimm. These traditional European tales are much darker than the Disney versions that we see on the cinema screens. So many are set in the deep darkness of the forest. The forest is both a place of magical mysticism, where anything can happen, but also a metaphor of your inner world and those dark places where your deepest fears lie. For example, in the traditional Russian version of Cinderella, there is no happy ever after for the ugly sisters. They cut off their toes and deform their feet in an attempt to fit the glass slipper. The story ends with birds pecking out their eyes, as you can see, much darker than the version we commonly hear. If you are not from a Western cultural background, use folk tales and mythical stories from your own cultural tradition. So your task this week is quite simple. I want you to write your story to date as if it were a fairy tale. Use the classic language of fairy tales of your own culture or of your own cultural equivalent. Start with Once Upon a Time or something similar. If you are not sure where to start, then think about who you are and who your parents might be in the story. Are you a prince or a princess? Or are you a farmhand or servant girl? Are your parents the loving king and queen? Or do you live with the evil stepmother? Or perhaps your parents abandoned you in the forest, where you were raised by the woodcutter. I hope this is giving you some inspiration to get you started. Once you start, just write for 15 minutes. Try not to think hard, but let the creative ideas flow from your child ego state. Once you have completed writing, take a break, then reread your story from your adult ego state. Are you surprised by anything you read? Do you have strengths in the story that you discount in your real life? What about weaknesses? How does your story fit with the ideas we have discussed in previous modules about identity? Emily and I would love to hear about your stories in the group, so feel free to share your findings. This exercise may bring up some difficult material for you, so feel free to contact either myself or Emily if you want some more help or advice. And until next week, bye.